When Mennonite Disaster Service thinks about the disaster cycle, I think of it in unique terms for us and our volunteers as we respond and rebuild and restore homes. So of course you have the incident, could be an earthquake, hurricane, tornado, or a human-caused disaster. And from that you develop a response. And in that response could be an earthquake or a Hurricane Helene or a tornado. You would have search and rescue, and then the cleanup phase of repair. And then when we would do that, our volunteers go in and do chainsaw tarping or muck out, and we strive to have the house to be safe, sound, and secure. We may not fully bring it back to its original space, but it's to protect it, maybe put plywood on the windows, tarping, and so on. And then there's the recovery phase. So in many ways, MDS likes to be there in the early phase so that we can start to assess what might need to happen down the road for this to happen. Often I am paying particular attention to the amount of time it might take for search and rescue, because that gives me some kind of a timeline how big this disaster is. And I often refer to this, it's not my thinking, but the thinking is the rule of 10. So if it takes 3 days of search and rescue for a tornado, we can think of that this probably will take 30 days for a cleanup or muck and gut, and 300 days for recovery. In Helene, it worked out pretty much as true, the tenfold kind of approach. It took at least 30 days that there were search and rescue events going on. That means it was 300 days for that cleanup phase of chainsaw, opening up roads, and now we can expect 3,000 days to rebuild. In other words, 5 to 6 years. So again, this rule of 10 gives us an understanding of the magnitude of a disaster early on. Of course, the long-term recovery phase, always we're trying to shorten that. But again, it starts from day one in the recovery. And of course, thinking about mitigation, it's in our recovery work that MDS strives to harden the home so that they won't have repetitive loss. For us, when we rebuild back the house, it might mean elevating the home, strengthening and building it stronger to withstand up to 155 mile-an-hour winds. Or in some places, we've completely relocated homes out of the floodplain into a new community. So that's the work of Mennonite Disaster Service in the disaster cycle and the kinds of things that we like to think about.